So, here I am in my backyard. I've been thinking a little bit. In my recent video, Nura Swad, I talked about how there is a hidden world, And regardless of your belief in whether or not there is a hidden world, angels, demons, etc., I do think it would suffice to say that what we believe should motivate us towards good actions, right? That your belief system, whatever it may be, should inspire good action. I'll be the first to say I was a part of Blood Over Intent. Blood Over Intent was a YouTube movement around 2012 where Mark Braun claimed to be Satan, claimed the earth was flat, claimed that heaven is at the North Pole, you know what I mean, that the Garden of Eden is at the North Pole, and that you just have to be like pure of heart or whatever to get in there. So it's kind of a loaded discussion. It's kind of like a weird thing that happened in the internet and then died down. Now, at this age, I was somewhat impressionable. I was seeing the flat earth videos and I was getting convinced. And I'm no longer convinced of this because I've had some supernatural experiences in my life, one of which being under guided meditation, doing an astral projection. And when I did this astral projection, I saw the earth and it was a globe. So to me, right there, that's the case. We also have like pilots claiming to see the curvature of the earth. So there's that as well. But why would somebody come on the internet and claim to be Satan? Okay, well, maybe they're mentally ill. Maybe they're trying to start something important, so they have to choose a character like Satan. But I thought of it a different way the other day. I thought of it like this. Religion has had a monopoly on morality for a long time. In large parts of history, you weren't moral unless you were Christian or unless you believed in Christ. There was no path to morality aside from that. So the things such as atheism, agnosticism, that are deemed satanic by some believers, can actually have a sense of morality. So you can be an atheist, you can be a moral atheist. Your morality is not determined by your spiritual affiliation, I guess is what I would say. I would say that your brand of spirituality, your brand of morality should be one that's pretty practical. Do I treat other people right? And the thing is, Christ came and went. He taught a message of love and acceptance and not being judgmental. And here today, people are still judgmental. So I have my reservations about Mark Braun. I don't know what he's about entirely. I don't know what the purpose of claiming to be Satan would be. But maybe it would be like a trigger thing. Like a see how people react to me when I do this. Like a test. And I think that the blood might be unnecessary. But just the idea of going on the internet and saying, I intend to worship all and exclude none, that is actually asking people to make some sort of proclamation of morality. And that proclamation is not, I am good, I am saved, I'm perfect now. That proclamation is, I intend to do this. So it's something which you have to continue doing, right? So a lot of people in the spiritual community, they want us to reach Christ consciousness, right? And Christ consciousness would be like, we are all one, so I'm going to treat people the way I want to be treated, etc. How do you do that? Well, it's not going to happen all at once, first of all. And second of all, it's not going to happen completely ever. There will always be people mistreating each other. But to get enough people to come together and say, I intend to worship all and exclude none, I intend to bring forth heaven on earth, is to get people to say, I'm going to participate in making the world a better place. It's a participatory thing. And the thing is, if you really truly did intend to worship all and exclude none, even if you're Christian, if you intended to, let's say you say love all and exclude none, if the word worship is too intense for you, that would include people who were Satanists. You would need to be nice to them too. So it's not partisan, it's non-partisan, it's it's the in-group mentality is not there. So for the record, as of today, and as of actually a long time, I have not believed that the earth is flat. However, I thought it'd be funny and kind of edgy to get a flat earth t-shirt, start wearing it to school. And here's the thing. I might be wrong, but that still doesn't justify the finger pointing and laughing. That still doesn't justify the, basically the almost ape-like bullying. Like, Quasi says some stuff. He says, you're a silly monkey floating on a ball through space as an accident. So that's something to ponder. Are you just a silly monkey floating on a ball through space as an accident? In that case, lie, throw shit at each other, point and laugh all you want. But if you're more than that, if you're a human goddamn being, you know better than to act like that, because your Christ consciousness is activated, and at least from a perspective of self-interest, if I'm rude to somebody else, they're going to be rude to me. Or if I lie, somebody else might lie as well. So I'm doing this thing, but somebody else might be doing this thing. So this moral plane that exists, where we want to be better than we are worse, is a human thing. And this moral plane of existence should not be dominated by the religious or the spiritual. It can also be pragmatic. It can be as simple as, I pay the bills, I take care of my family. I don't need some God figure or something involved in that. I'm a good person, damn it. I take care of my own, or I have blankets in the car for somebody who's homeless is out freezing, or something like this. So the moral plane has been hijacked by the religious, and people go to religion to feel a sense of morality. But plenty of people have suffered from religious trauma. Thankfully, I have not. I was raised spiritual. But religious trauma is a real thing. A parent being abusive and using the Bible along with it. So naturally then, any sort of movement, any sort of spiritual movement should include those dispossessed or disenfranchised people who might call themselves Satanists because they're edgy teenagers who have angst towards their parents. They might call themselves, an atheist because they just reject the idea entirely because they can't stand religious people, whatever the case. But the idea, he said, we're bringing forth the New World Order by ourselves. And it's like, as far as an internet meme is concerned, if there's any meme that's worth propagating, it's love all and exclude none, bring forth heaven on earth. Because what does heaven on earth look like to you? You can start creating that in your immediate life. So this is just kind of like me talking about blood over intent for a little bit. I don't want my channel to be blood over intent oriented, but every video that you see is my attempt towards heaven on earth from my perspective. You know, so we're all one and we should all love each other and get along. That's great and hunky-dory, but there's also freedom. Throws a monkey wrench in that. So that's the prime directive, my video about that. NeuroSWAT, I talk about how somebody dies in a house and there's an energy there. So yeah, I believe in a hidden world. I believe in negative and positive spirits. But the exact mechanics of this world, I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you what Satan even is. You know, that's beyond my understanding. So this energy of being a little bit rebellious, being a little bit contrarian, we have to keep this energy, because if you remember, well, you won't remember, but in medieval times, the people who kept the king human, those were the court jesters, right? So it's kind of like a court jester type thing to be like, earth is flat, you know, I'm Satan, you know, saying all those things is kind of like a form of a joke, you know, but the joke might be more of a cosmic joke, like whether God exists or whether he doesn't, we need to treat each other right. So maybe what you might perceive as some kook on the internet claiming that he's Satan and claiming that the earth is flat, but he says, hey, let's all love each other, you know? And the only thing that I think is really unique about this movement is the fact that you proclaim this statement and you put it on a piece of paper, and the blood requires a certain amount of investment. So I don't think the blood is actually necessary. I don't know how blood magic works, you know? But the blood is kind of like investment. It's kind of like if somebody asks you to put a few dollars on the game, like how much do you think that your team is really going to win? So what I'm getting at here is I'm not going to advocate that anybody do blood magic, because that might necessitate self-harm. If you are going to do blood magic, if you are already going to do it, put down your knife and go get a diabetic needle or order one online. And then you can do that. Or wait till you get a boo-boo naturally, you know? Or if you were already self-harming and you're already doing it, instead of wasting that or harming yourself in a way that's like suicidal, write this statement down and have it be the first and last time you ever do that. You know, but there is something wrong with the world fundamentally. I think we all feel it, that things are not as good as they could be. Like there is still animosity, you know? So I'll tell you about some other spiritual experiences I've had. I've stared into the sun for 11 minutes and seen Metatron's cube, or the flower of life. That was insane. That was like seeing the fabric of the universe. I believe wholeheartedly that if somebody else does it, they'll see that, but I might be getting cataracts here sooner rather than later because of that. You know, the sun is dangerous to look at. Hell, even the moon is dangerous to look at. But I've done that. I've had really vivid dreams where I had a dream where this lady, my spirit guide or whatever, her name was Catholic Cinnamon. She introduced herself as Catholic Cinnamon. And then she said a name, which I'm not going to say, which was supposed to be the name of like an entity. And all of a sudden, I'm frozen in place and I feel pinpricks all over my body, like I'm really hot. Or like when your foot falls asleep. You know? But that's just a dream. You know, I can be pragmatic, I can be practical. I don't have to be so whimsical, spiritual, like believing in fairies and shit like that. So with blood over intent, I'm not sure where I stand on it as of today. Part of me wants to just stick with it because it's something that makes me unique. Like what, you go to church? Well, I do blood over intent, and I know what my intention is. So even if it turns out that people who were spearheading this movement are kind of kooks, I know what I did it for. And what I did it for is everybody loving and accepting each other. So that is a very Christ-like thing. It would make you like Christ if you could stand behind someone or stand beside somebody who calls himself a Satanist, because you realize their intrinsic moral value outweighs their position, right? So I don't know the exact mechanics of the spirit world or how it works, but I know that there's stuff that we as humans would register as negative or positive. And for me, I just try to keep an open mind and try to kind of like look at it analytically. So Earth is not flat. Earth is a globe, or at least from what I've seen, it's a globe. From astral projecting, I have a hell of a time astral projecting nowadays. Like I'm blocked or something. It's much harder. Might be impossible for me. I'm not sure, but one of these days I might break through. Most nights I fall asleep listening to astral projection stuff in the hopes that I have an interesting dream or that I am able to ascertain some more information. But look into Metatron. Look into Metatron's cube and what the angel Metatron does. Metatron is like known as the scribe of God. So you might not be a fan of the religious. So just because they called it Metatron, just because they called it Metatron's cube and associated with this angel, the energy of that symbol still persists. The signature of it. And the fact that I saw it in the sun is kind of strange. So I don't know. Somebody somewhere might be crazy enough to, people put hot sauce in their eyeballs and do shit like this for challenges. So stare into the sun for 11 minutes at high noon. Tell me what you see. Because I saw a big ass cube in the sky and I saw Metatron's cube in the sun. So I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. But I can't shake the feeling that some of this religious shit is accurate. Quasi-luminous, who knows? So, really, I guess I'm just trying to decide whether I'm going to promote blood over intent, because what is it really going to do? But the goal is, it won't do anything by itself, but it's the catalyst to a new way of thinking. And that is, you made like an energetic agreement to love everyone and not be exclusionary. So now you have to live that out in your life. And I'm of the belief that if you put your blood on it, that's more buy-in, that's more commitment to it. And what's unique about this as well is you can never say it's like a cult or anything, because I'm telling you openly, this dude might be a kook. Quasi might be a kook. Like, I don't know. Fuck, I don't know the guy. But what I will say is I will say that everybody in this community has seemingly been pretty chill, down-to-earth people. And there is no, like, hierarchical anything. And we don't have any secret meetings or anything like that. It's just you do your blood over intent on YouTube and then bam, you're done. And it's connected to the flat earth community. So, somewhat embarrassing, but I used to be a flat earther. There you go. I outed myself. I used to be a flat earther. So make that what you will. But yeah, there's a lot of information, contradictory information going out there right now. I'll also go as far as to say there's a entity known as Penemu. He's one of the watchers from the book of Enoch. Penemu, he distorts truth. He makes it that truth can be corrupted. So this entity, Penemu, I see elements of this in the blood over intent movement. Is I see like, oh, but earth is flat and stuff like this. So like lies mixed in with truth. It's like love everybody, treat everybody right, but also earth is flat. Well, I don't think it is. You know, so there's no hierarchical structure. Like I'm still blood over intent. I'm just not a flat earther anymore. And I'm not even a contrarian anymore. What I believe is the main story. I believe in a hidden realm, just like you, if you're Christian or whatever. I believe in a hidden realm, and I believe that there are intelligences that operate within that realm, positive or negative, or more ambiguous. And I feel like as wishy-washy as that is, that's still more than some people will tolerate. But even the most staunch atheist has to admit they don't know for sure that there's not a ghost or something like this. I mean, are you just going to go move into the house where a family just got murdered? No, you're not going to, because even people who don't think they're superstitious, the hairs start rising up on the back of your neck and you know something before you even know it. You know something you didn't even know you knew. And that's that spiritual element. So I'll report back and I'll let you know if I'm able to astral project or whatnot. But yeah, a lot to cover. I mean, blood over intent. What do we make of blood over intent? Because it seems like people aren't making videos anymore. It seems like they had this massive plan to bring forth heaven on earth and do all this shit, and it just suddenly dropped off the face of the earth. So in a somewhat more meager form, I would just say I don't want to wait for the Bible, like the 144,000 chosen ones or whatever. How many videos on the internet are like, oh, the 144,000 chosen, this message is for you, like AI videos? You got plenty of people thinking they're the chosen, but it might turn out that the chosen are just people who choose to be good people and proclaim it outwardly to the universe and stand together. And you might be standing with somebody who's kind of awful, but they've proclaimed that they want to do better. So is that not the Christian message of forgiveness and being able to right your wrongs? Is that not exactly the idea? So yeah. But what to make of blood over intent? I'm not sure what to make of it. It basically died off on the internet.